Welcome back to Wisconsin. We are in Swanson's machine shop now. I came back and I was telling you in a previous video I had gotten this 2035 front axle. The dad had straightened out. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago or whatever. Well, since he fixed that, we figured, oh, we'll try to straighten out one of these 1525, this axle that's bent up. So we took some of the bend out of it. You know, we're just blocked on the ends. Got that pretty well straightened out. Now we had to figure out how to get the twist out of it. Because I showed you when it was back in my garage, I put in a couple of pipes and you've seen how twisted it was. So we came up with a way to take the twist out of it. We got it just pinched down in the middle here on the big press. And then we got it blocked up on the outside on the bottom on this end. And we got another bottle jack pressing on the frame of the press, and then what that is doing is twisting the axle because the middle can't move. Well, first we determined where it was twisted, and it's this end of the axle that's twisted, and so we gotta rotate it that way. So we got these chunks of bar bolted in there, and we've already gotten it considerably better. You can probably see there how much we've already straightened it out. I'm going to fine tune it here a little bit more now. So it's very controllable this way. We're not trying to just take a big bar and twist on it or whatever. We can do a little bit and let it go and see how much it, because of course it's going to spring back a little bit. Try something like that, I suppose. Because we're past now, but it'll twist back. And kind of sneak up on it this way. And that's actually looking pretty close. Maybe we gotta go just a little bit more yet. Try that. It looks like we've gone way too far, but it springs back quite a bit when you let the pressure back off. Yeah, we might have actually gone a little bit the other way now. Yeah, I think we went just a little bit.
We'll leave it right there then, because then we'll try to
get
a little bit of a kink out here.
There's one more little kink as far as the axle this way. Like right here, we have to take a little bit of, there's a little bit of a kink that way. So we'll do that probably next, and then assess how things are looking. But we'll be able to get her all straightened out here. I'm happy about that. I wasn't sure if we would be able to do that or not, but it was just kind of comical. I'm so used to looking at all these little 1525 parts. When you look at the big 2035 stuff now, it looks just massive. I don't know if it maybe doesn't show on camera as much, but in real life here, it feels a lot bigger than what the little brother tractor is. Man, oh man, do we have a lot of snow here. So while I was home, I wanted to come out to the woods here and grab a few tractor parts to bring back to North Dakota with me. Well, there ain't no way we could drive in. The road has been snowed in since basically the beginning of the winter. It came so much so fast we didn't even get a chance to try to keep up on plowing the roads. We gave up. And lately they got dumped on again and again. So we ended up Dad and I snowshoed out here this afternoon. It's a beautiful day. And it's been a number of years since I've actually gotten the opportunity to snowshoe, because I used to do that a lot when I was younger. But a lot of years we are hardly even getting enough snow. Anyway, we came out, check on the barn, like I said, grab some parts. I don't know if the camera will do it justice, but holy moly, this is the most snow we've ever seen, you know, come off the roofs next to the barn here or whatever. I mean, those are, whatever, 8-foot sliding doors, and we're darn near to the top of them with all the snow that's slid off the roof. I mean, I can climb up the pile here, and I'm almost standing at the top of the sliding doors here, if that puts it into perspective. I'm at roof level. Holy moly. We're not going to be able to get in and out of these doors until the middle of the summer. It's going to take a long time for it to melt. Have to get inside and look. Earlier in the winter, Dad had to come and shovel away from the door because it must have came off so slow. Normally it comes off quick enough. It piles, you know, a couple feet away, right? Well, it must have came off real slow, heavy wet stuff, and it piled, and it was actually bowing in the doors. So he had to shovel away to take the pressure off the doors. This is just so much snow. I'll walk over and show you my nephew's little play hot rod that he built for him a few years back. And that's the rear wheels of 1525s underneath here. Can't even hardly tell they're under there, there's so much snow. That's the rear end of a 2035, same story, under a snowbank. HD5, grader. Yeah, here's the hot rod. I was going to take a shovel and shovel off this roof. All the snow, I'm surprised it hasn't caved in already. That's just a canvas top I made. A couple of 2x for support. I'm surprised that hasn't caved in. I'm going to shovel that off. And we're going to see if we can dig out some parts, and we're going to put them in the little kid toboggans and pull them back out of here. Get the parts out. Oh, Dad found my little shovel I was looking for. We were building igloos with the nieces and nephews the other day. And that was the little shovel I had when I was young. And I couldn't find it. Well, that's why I couldn't find it. It was out here. Here's the other side of the barn. You can dang near walk right up on the roof. Holy moly. So much snow. I was over here. Figured I'd show you this. I already took the branch off, but we lost a couple of good sized branches off the big white pines above us here. Came down in the storms. Up there, I could see they broke off. And they unfortunately landed on top of these tractors. A little bit of, I'm not sure if this hood was dented in before or not, but it is now if it wasn't. And same story, I'm not sure if that dent was in that B gas tank before or not. But if not, it's dented now, so a little bit of minor damage. I'll probably go snowshoe up and check out the other tractor row, see how they fared. There, got that shuffled off. Feel better about that now. So we're digging out parts for the 1525s to bring back. This is the one we took off the Michigan Parts Tractor firewall. As long as I was here and it was convenient, I dug out one of my 2035 long fender quadrants to confirm whether or not they really were the same. And yes, they appear to be the same casting. So that's the long fender. Flip them both over. This part here is not original, but the arms the same, casting's the same, everything looks the same to me there. Flippers are the same. So for future reference, we got some parts interchangeability there. We got the 1525 fan assembly. Bring that back. That one's got a pretty good blade on it. A little pitted, but it's all straight. 1525 governor. So we can get some good parts. We need this and potentially some parts from the inside of that. We have dug out one of the final drive backer plates for the felt ring holder. We get the oil pressure gauge from the 1525 Michigan parts tractor. Dipstick tube for reference. One of the front pulleys. Hopefully that one will replace the cracked one. The one that was cracked on the keyway. We'll get that one cleaned up. The other parts pulley we have is the flange one with a chip out of it, so we'll have to figure out our plan of attack on that yet. Holy moly, my poor tractors. Can't even see them. I mean, like we could know, this has been the one snowblowed path here, and we're up hip high snow there. There's what, 4 tractors in a row here, and you can't even see them. This is crazy. It's the most snow I've ever seen on top of them. What a mess. Okay, let's snowshoe out of here now with the parts. Dad's already got a head start that way. The lengths we go for you guys to keep the channel going, see progress. It's another beautiful day, so Dad and I decided to hike out to the barn again, get a couple more parts, bring a couple things out here to put away in storage. You can probably hear the snow and water dripping off the roof. It's a nice sunny day out there. Dad's going to see if he can get the snowblower going out there where he left it previously. I'm in here rounding up some more parts. I'm on the long fender here, back in the corner of the barn. Climbed in here just to show you guys the pan seats, comparing them. So this is the one off of the Michigan parts tractor, 1525. This is on a 2035 long fender. It is the same pan seats, same seat pedestal assembly, and then the pedestal is also the same as on a short fender 2035. I'll show you that in a minute. Comparing these got like a round donut shaped in the middle. It's a little bit different than the 612 seat over there. I'll show you that in a minute as well. Pan seats are a little bit different. These two are exactly the same number of slots. 14 slotted slots on the outside and 11 on the inside. So here's the side by side of the one on the 612. 612 is a little bit different. And I don't know, maybe this is not the original factory seat. It's the one that came with it, so it's the best as I know it is, but this might have been changed at some point. I don't know. It's very close, very similar to this one. There's a different number of slots. This has 18 slots on both the inside and the outside ring of holes. And then the center is square instead of round. But it's the same basic shape and size and everything. So who knows? I guess this is the type of pan seat I'll be looking for the 1525s and long fenders for that matter. So if anybody has a pan seat like this with the same number of holes and shape and center part and everything, let me know. I'm keeping an eye out for, I'll need at least a couple of these because this one's a little beyond fixing, I think. So I need a couple for the 1525s and then potentially more for the long fenders in the future. So let me know if you got any pan seats like that or if you come across one. Okay, here I dug out. This is a short fender seat pedestal assembly I had. I believe this one is from my second 2035. For now, I'm going to use that as my pattern and whatnot. For those that don't know, these are already available. Mark Fouts has these seat pedestals available, reproduced aftermarket. And I might very well go that direction, but I think I might fix some of these that I have, as long as I have, like this. We could put a new piece in the top with a new hole. We can fix this here, a new piece. I don't need to go entirely new reproduction. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I might make a couple. I might fix a couple. I might buy a couple. Who knows? We'll see. And for Glenn in Australia, I will measure up some measurements for you, because he wants to produce a couple over there and save himself some shipping across seas, because he's fixing up a long fender 2035, and it's the same assembly for that. So the only thing Fouts is different is he currently doesn't have this cast piece reproduced. It's just I believe it's a thinner, like a laser plasma cut piece of steel, where originally it's a thick piece of cast. And he did mention that if we get enough interest, he could make a run of them, or somebody can make a run of them. So if there's anybody out there looking at getting these, that is one source for them. If anybody out there has some original ones of these, even if they need a little fixing like this one, let me know. I would be interested in that, because as you know, I prefer, wherever possible, I prefer to put original parts back on the tractors. Sometimes you have no choice but to make new. So yeah, let me know if you have any original parts you're willing to get rid of. Dad made it back with the snowblower. That's good. Put that back in the barn now. I dug out the oil pan from the Michigan Parts tractor. Dumped out all the mouse nests and rust and crud out of that. So I can bring this back with me, because this is the most intact, as bad as this one is, this is the most intact one I have for a pattern. And it has an almost intact oil pickup screen, and the rest of it is in the container here. So I can use that as a template to reproduce all of that, which is nice, because the ones I have out of my house are, there's nothing left. I have no idea what was even supposed to be in there. So between this one and the other ones with patterns, I should be able to figure out what size and shape they really need to be now, which is nice. Okay, we're back in the garage here. I realize we're bouncing around quite a bit in this week's video, but that's how our schedules allow. So we got the axle all straightened out in the press. I think I showed you all that process. Really happy with how it turned out. We got it dang near perfect, we think. We started with just, the two pipes and just eyeballing. Well, when we got to the point where we felt pretty confident that we had it straightened out really, really close, we set it up on our milling machine here. Excuse me. A couple of spacer blocks and just lightly clamped down, and then we took some adjustable parallels and checked how everything was doing on both ends, and everything seems to be, because this is the best as far as a nice flat machine surface we have available for checking that type of thing, and everything is just about perfect right now. Actually, we're really, for considering what we're using for bars and stuff here, it's about as close as you can expect it to be. So we're happy with that. We know now that we're good enough where when the day comes, we can bore and bush the center pivot hole and feel confident that everything is going to be square and with everything else. Because as far as we know, and feel free to correct me if we're wrong here, as far as we know, this bore should be perfectly perpendicular to the axle as we have it. Same with these kingpin bores. As far as we know, those should be on the same plane, let's call it, as the center line of the axle. And as far as I know, they will be square 90 degrees to that center line of the axle the other direction. We don't think there's any, like, caster camber or anything figured into the axle. As far as we know, all of that geometry for your spindles and everything to get all your wheel, like I said, caster camber, everything. As far as we know, all of that is figured into the geometry of the spindles themselves. But again, if we're wrong on that, be sure to correct me. But when that day comes, we can set this up 90 degrees and bore out. Most likely we'll have to bore out these kingpin bores to accept new kingpins, which we maybe will end up making oversized to blah blah blah, take up wear and everything else. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Same with this. We're not going to actually bore it out quite yet, because we'll have to decide if we want to do, like, say, an oversized pin, or we're going to go to the factory size. That's yet to be determined. We have to look at all the fits on all the other parts before we make that final decision. So basically we're going to table this axle for now, or as far as we're going to be, until we get some other parts and pieces ready farther along. Spindles, front axle, fit to the actual main casting, front end casting there. Decide how we want to fit things there. I'm just really happy that we got everything straightened out. There's no twist in it now. It's straight. Really glad we could do that. And now we know we have the capabilities of fixing these bent axles. So we just keep adding to our knowledge and abilities around here. Slowly and slowly we're being able to fix more and more things that we never could years ago, or never had the knowledge of how to years ago. So, pretty exciting times. Okay, random question for you guys. I know there are a lot of smart people that watch this channel. What are these things? We picked them up at a garage sale just because, bar stock if nothing else. They got these hex on the ends. It's like a 1-inch bar. They're about 4 foot long. What are these things? Somebody had torched the one end of this one off. Are these anything from something? Are they tools, or you got like numbers and letters on the ends, but they're not all the same. I don't know what they are. We're just curious, if there's something important, we won't cut them up, but if they're just junk, we'll use them as bar stock to make parts or bars or whatever. Let me know if you know what these are. I'll probably feel silly once you tell me if they are something, but we can't place it where we've ever seen these before. We have a little more time before I have to head back to North Dakota, so we're going to start working on these throttle butterflies, get a little machining and whatnot done on them, at least get the ball rolling. So I had rounded up everything I needed. I got the new bushings, we got some material for shaft, we got the number 0 taper pin and taper pin reamer. I just came up with a little piece of junk here we used as a little pushing tool, and set this up in the press and pushed out the 2 original wore out bushings. Got them out. So now we can clean up that bore and press the new bushings back in, and then start figuring out shafts and how we're going to set that up to machine. We got to put those holes for that's just straight holes there for a piece of heavy spring wire we think we're going to use to hold the butterfly in place, and then this one has to be machined for that. That's a taper pin there, and of course to get all the geometry right, because those aren't in the same plane. holes are at a different angle. So to get it all recreated the same way so it all functions as it should, I guess the next step is, like I said, clean up this bore and we'll go from there. Okay, we got the new bushings pressed into the housing. Got that aligned to the right depths based on the throttle butterfly and the spacer washers on either side of it. Got those so everything is situated nicely there. We got a new piece of shaft cut to length and faced off the ends to the proper length, the same as the original shaft. Drilled and taper reamed a hole in the end of the shaft for the taper pin for that linkage. So that's all good. So the next step will be to locate this shaft exactly where we want it to be, left to right, in and out, whatever you want to say there. And locate 2 holes for the throttle butterfly wire. But we're about out of time for this trip, so I think I'm going to leave these pieces and parts here, and when Dad gets time he can work on that and repeat the same process for this one. We got the new bushings installed in this one too, but we still need to remove the old shaft from this arm, make a new second shaft like we did here, and then holes in that one, and that'll basically, then we'll have to figure out, see if this spring wire is going to work for that, or if we got to come up with potentially a softer, more easily bendable wire. We'll experiment around with that a little bit. But yeah, it's coming along nicely. We did pretty good this week. We got some parts loaded up, we got some projects done, we've got some pieces to work on now when we go back to North Dakota. That was kind of the holdup with a lot of this stuff. I'm pretty happy. I will see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us at Swanson's Garage and this week at Swanson's Machine Shop. Later.